Dennis Davis. We're back. This is The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. We're going to continue the show right now. Take another caller, Christine from Illinois. Christine, did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Yes, hi. Actually, I have a story and question.
Go for it.
My daughter was in a relationship, and he beat her up. She called the police. She put an order of protection out on him. She has 3 kids. One is his, but anyhow, so they wanted her to sign up for Intact. And they said it was voluntary. So she said, well, if it's voluntary, then you can just come and see me anytime you want. So she said, I don't need to sign papers for you to do that. So she didn't sign the papers. Well, when she didn't sign the papers, 2 months later, out of nowhere, they came and they said, well, we handed it to you on a silver platter. Now we're taking you to court and taking your children. This was 2 months after. They left the children with her for 2 months. So they did that. They took her to court. And the caseworker got on the stand and said that the guy that supposedly beat her up was outside, but he wasn't out there. And they took her children that day. And we've been fighting ever since to get them back.
How long ago was that?
December 2nd.
Okay. Do you have an attorney you're working with out in Illinois?
Yeah, he's in Chicago. We just recently, about a month ago, got him on the case, so he's still got to catch up on everything. And then they bumped the court date from October 9th to December 11th. In the meantime, I tried to get my grandchildren, and they wouldn't let me get them.
Because?
Because they tried to say, me and my husband are separated, and he lives over at my son's, and because we still see each other, it just works out that way. And because I let him come over, they said they ran his background. He had something on his background contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which is not true. So I got with the people who run background checks on DCFS.
Mm-hmm.
He filled out a paper, and they came back with nothing pending on him. So they won't show us. YSB is Youth Service Bureau, who is in charge over the kids now. DCFS, they're like an off branch that takes kids because DCFS is too bombarded. YSB, because I made some phone calls to Springfield and other places, told my daughter I stepped on toes I shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fighting me on it. So they ended up putting them with my niece, which they ended up getting taken from there, and they put them with my brother-in-law.
Okay.
I said, hold up a minute. I said, so you're putting them with my brother-in-law, who is my husband's brother, and he goes to his house to visit, but you won't let him come visit. You won't let me have him.
Oh.
I said, what kind of sense does that make?
Right. Well, typically in these kinds of CPS cases, if you're looking for common sense, you're not going to find it, so don't get frustrated.
Right. Well, and when we told them, so my brother-in-law is really sick.
Mm.
So we kept telling YSB that the people, that like they couldn't handle them,
mm-hmm.
And they didn't want to keep all 3 of the kids. It was too much for them. And, he's got mesothelioma, I guess that's what you call it. Anyhow, they moved along. He's dying. And so it was hard on him and his wife. And so he ended up going to the hospital because his blood pressure was going up. And they called me and had me come and get the kids. Okay, now, number one, I was never told I could not be around my grandchildren. I was never told I couldn't take my grandchildren. The only thing I was ever told is they couldn't live with me. That was it. So they called me and said, you got to come and pick the kids up because as we had to go to the hospital. So I flew out there and I got the kids. And then I get home and about probably 6 that evening. And this was just recently on the 7th. I had 2 sheriffs and 2 people from YSP show up to my house to get the kids. And I had let them go over and play with their cousins, so I had to go get them and bring them back here. And my grandson was hanging on my neck, begging me not to let him take them. And, you know, it was really heart-wrenching, like ripped my heart out. And even the officers felt bad. I mean, one went and sat in the car.
Wow.
But Kathy, the head lady at YSB, because I have made phone calls, I have stepped on some toes, and I've reported them. And she made a report and she filed it at the court. Mm-hmm. And we went there and got court papers, and we just happened to run across that one. I mean, that's how fast they filed it. They filed it. This happened on the 7th, and the 9th, it was filed in court. And because we went on the 10th and got all the court documents. And it's saying that, you know, I had my kids when I was not supposed to have them unsupervised. Why do I have to have supervised visitation with my grandkids? They ran my background. I have nothing. I've never been arrested in my life. You know what I mean?
Do you want the kids in your custody, Christine?
Yes, I do.
The private attorney that you hire, is he going to represent the mother or is he going to represent you?
I think both of us. At this point, I think I'm going to have them do both of us.
You know, I'm a lawyer in California, not in Illinois. I don't know, you know, if the case were here, I'm not sure that the one attorney could represent the mother and the grandmother at the same time. You know, what he could do, you know, if he were here in California, he could represent the mother, but fight to get the child placed with you. That happens a lot of time. You know, the parent's attorney fights to get the child placed with a relative.
Well, you know, he over the phone, he told us to go file that, you know, to get, you know, maybe temporary custody or whatever it is. We filed those papers. We filed them at the courthouse. And then when we went to court, they rejected it because we didn't ask the court. Because it's not like the regular courthouse. It's like a juvenile courthouse. Mm-hmm. And because we didn't ask the judge if we could do that first, they rejected it.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And it's like our hands are tied behind our back, and they just keep punching us in the gut. You know what I mean? And
well, send your attorney.
My grandkids want to live.
Look, send your attorney an email and ask him or her, you know, let's get on the ball. Let's do this quickly. Because your kids are, you know, your grandkids are staying in some strange foster home.
Yeah. We don't even know what town they're in now. You know, they took them, and first they put the 2 together, and then they separated all 3 of them now. And, you know, I'm just like, I've been doing so much homework online. And I'm at a loss because, I mean, I have no background. I've got room for my kids, the grandkids here. Mm-hmm. And so I think they're fighting me. Now she filed this in court on me for saying that I took the kids and that I didn't return them and I let them go with their mom and just all this false stuff. And the officer, I spoke to him and I read the report, what she wrote, and he said, no, I know none of that was put in the report. Because she stated she lied in the report that she filed at the court, and she said that the officers called my daughter. My daughter said, oh, I'm on my way back to Sycamore. They never, and the officer said, that's the mother, right? And I said, the mother Tanya, and I said, yes. And he said, no, because she said they called her. And he said, we never called her. So he said, go get the report so that you can have that. So, see, I mean, there's just one lie after the other that I'm catching them in.
I know, Christine, but here's the thing, okay? I'm going to tell you one of my secret sauces. Mm-hmm. You know, when they lie, do not fall into fighting them and becoming frustrated. You have to keep your eye on the prize, and the prize is getting the children with you. Now, if they've lied about something, you and your attorney can prove that it's not true. But don't get upset about it. People get upset because they expect these governmental workers to play fair and tell the truth. It doesn't happen.
Right.
It doesn't happen all the time.
Oh, I can't believe the lies that they tell.
I know, but look, Christine, forget it. Get used to it. All right?
Yeah.
You've seen it. You know that they're going to do that. You just get an attorney to combat the lies and to prove that it's not true. Okay? That's all you have to worry about.
Well, with the question, the first house that they were in, we called the caseworker because we found out that it was a really nasty home that they were in, that they put them with, and it was so bad that they would not. This is why they're fighting me, I think, because I called the caseworker and I said, this is what's going on in this house, and they're they even let my 12-year-old grandson smoke pot. I said, and he's watching pornography with an 18 and a 20-year-old. So I finally got an investigator to go out there, and they took the kids out that day, and that's when they put them with my brother-in-law.
Right. Christine?
But yes.
I want to tell you one thing. Okay, I was raised by my grandmother. And my grandmother used to say this all the time to me, and it wasn't until I was about 45 that it finally dawned on me what she was trying to tell me. You get more bees with honey, Christine. They're trying to, F you over, and that's what they're doing. And there's not a thing you can do about it right now. Once you get these kids back, you can go talk to a civil rights lawyer and, get your justice and your justification. Hey, Christine, we have to take a break at the top of the hour. Thank you for calling. Thank you for listening. Call us in a few weeks to let us know an update on what's happening in Illinois with your grandkids. This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win.